Hey, it's Jay here. I'm in my shop at Annex at my hardware store. All these bins I use to store various hardware. Most of them are Harbor Freight brand, Stanley. I have the red ones, Amazon Basics. I even have a sustainer up here. All of it is there to store my various hardware. But what do you do when those bins don't really fit your needs for some specific piece of hardware? I've worked on that. I've come up with a few things, and I've found some things on the internet that help. Back in the shop with better lighting. This is a bone stock Stanley sorter bin. They call it their professional organizer. And these are usually referred to as Sortimo online. That's from Adam Savage. Set up his shop using bins similar to this by a brand called Sortimo, and he spent a lot of money. Each of these bins in Sortimo is about $100. These ones were $15, they're pushing $20-ish now, and Harbor Freight has some that you can get for, I think the normal price is something like $15, but they have sales that have them $7, $8, something like that for one of these type of bins. But this is stock configuration. So for a Stanley, the stock configuration is 5 of these large bins, which I think are 2 by 3, and we'll get to that in a second. And then it has 8 of these medium bins that are 1 by 2, and then these 1 by 1 bins, they have a dozen of. And the reason I do the 1 by 1, 1 by 2, 2 by 3 is these things are indexed. They have indexes on their feet that hold them in place inside of this, so that even if I take all these other bins out, this one's in place. And when I close it, it has indexers on the top that stick down that hold it in place, so you can pick it up like a suitcase, carry it around, and that nothing falls out of that bin, and that bin stays in its place even when the other bins are missing. So that's the advantage of these style of bins. But what do you do when this doesn't work for you? You have a whole bunch of small stuff. Well, one of the easiest things is you just buy another bin, take this out, go to the other bin, pull over some small ones and stick them in there. It's all mix and match. And then hopefully you wind up with a bin that is full of large stuff, and you take all the large bins and stick them in the other bin. So that's kind of how I do it, and I don't think I have one single bin in use that has the stock configuration, and in fact I have a bunch of these bins in drawers and stuff because I've done some other things to hack the bins. So that's the first thing you can do, is just change which bins are in which case. Alright. The next thing you can do, and this is a Harbor Freight bin, you can see how similar it is. Next thing you can do is just take bins out and put things in here. So I have my UJK parf guide system, needed a place to put it, so I took out enough bins that it would fit in here. And I also have a piece for my Dalmax and another piece for my Dalmax in here. And they all fit in here. My plan originally was to take some foam and stick it in here, some of the Kaizen foam. So this bin over here is the old style that I used to use of Plano bins, and I just filled with Kaizen foam and put the whole Dalmax kit in here until I got the 45-degree attachment, which doesn't fit in this bin. But you can see you can use Kaizen foam. I could use Kaizen foam and cut out a chunk that would fit this in there, and it would slot in there really nice, and then when I closed it and carried it around, the thing wouldn't bang around. The reason I haven't done that to this bin is because I realized that this sustainer fits on my shelves, and I had bought a custom piece of Kaizen foam that fits in here. So I think this will get the parf guide system, maybe the Dalmax as well. Finally, you can 3D print bins. And you can see this bin here, this brown bin, is 3D printed. It doesn't match the others. One is not like the other. Now, different modelers online. I've just been using online models, and different modelers have different bin quality, I guess. This one's really flexible, but it's a size you can't get. And I've made several bins that are in sizes you can't get stock. Right, this one's a 2x4 maybe, I think, which you can't buy, which doesn't come in the bins as it sits. But this one's a little flexible. The other problem is when you print them, they have, if you want the feet, and I am only printing on models that have the feet. More than half the models out there don't even have the feet. The designers just take the easy way out and don't put the feet on it. Then you lose the ability for this bin to stay in place. But you have to put support on the bottom, and when you do that support, you can see it kind of got grunched up here with the support structure. I've done a few different things to make it work, and we can talk about the 3D printing things later. This particular bin here is just a 1x2, but it has 3 compartments with little doors. I don't necessarily like the doors, but I like this style. It's a nice stiff bin that somebody made really well. And it's got 3 compartments. And you can see it actually prints this way, and the 3D printer bridges those 3 compartments. A 3D printer can bridge certain amount of space, and you can see the bottoms, if you can look in there, I don't know if you can see that, but the bottoms have a little ridge that they printed outwards to decrease the amount of bridging. But still, in the bottom, it's the one row that goes that way, the first row. It kind of sags a little over each row, and you can feel it in here. It's kind of like hairy, and your fingernail catches on it, and it's almost like there's some untightened guitar strings in there or something, and they'll eventually peel out. I'm about to peel one out. So when you put when you put like small hardware in here that you would be putting in a bin like this, it would get a little gnarly when you're digging it out, and there's little chunks of 3D print coming out on you. When you print a model like this with feet, I recommend you use a support layer. You can see this one was printed with a support layer. You can see a little bit of the support layer material on it. It gives you this sort of rough finish, but at least the base is very solid, and you get a full thickness bottom. If you don't use that and you just try to use support structure to hold it up, it'll tear off the bottom layer and you'll basically ruin the part. I've ruined several of these things. I also prefer to print PETG over PLA. Most of these are PLA, but I think they come out a little stronger. And like I say, models with a thicker wall thickness, so you don't wind up with that, are a little nicer. You can see here in my metric kit, I've used a lot of small bins in here for a lot of small parts, and I've used bins that are, 1x1s that are halved this way and this way for all kinds of these small parts. This is a small parts kit for like M3 through 5 or something like that, M3, 4, 5, something like that. And yeah, a lot of small bins in this one, but printing out these things worked out great. And actually, let me grab one that only has one side full. These smaller ones with the support structure, and I think these are actually PLA over PET, or PETG over PLA. I've been using the PETG HF from Bamboo with this, and with the support. Bamboo now has a support that does PLA and PETG, which is nice, so only have to have one type of support for both. Some of the other models I've printed are models to go inside, so I have smaller bins that go inside larger bins. I've got these 3 type to go inside of a 1x2, and then this These things can be made to go into 1x2 or these 2x4. I can just keep piling them in. These ones are kind of nice models. They have little places to put labels, which is nice. And to get that to print right, there's a 45-degree angle down here for support. Printers tend to be able to print 45-degree angles, build out 45-degree angles just fine. It's just bridging the whole thing at the top isn't great. The only other concept I've thought of that I haven't tried yet is 3D printing something to hold a particular thing inside of one of these bins. There's all kinds of the Gridfinity type models, but I think you could probably adapt one of those to the feet of these things and make them fit in the bins. I haven't tried it, like I said, I haven't tried it yet, but it seems like a good idea. If you have any other good ideas or know of any better models and modelers, please put them in the comments, let me know. I'd love to try them out. Thank you so much for watching.